My name is Kelly. I'm 32 years old and married. My husband, Justin, is 35 and works office. I'm a freelance fashion designer working from home. My work was unstable with many small assignments at first, but I landed on a big project with a good paycheck recently. It gave Justin I am opportunity to move into a high-rise luxury apartment. Since I was the one who wanted to such a place, I agreed to pay the monthly rent from my pocket. Justin was quite delighted to live lavish apartment that I thought we had a happy future ahead of us. I had never imagined what was to come. One day, Justin brought his mother back to our place. She was 65 years old. Her husband passed away 3 years ago, and she has been living alone ever since.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Betty. It's been a while. What on?
Well, she wants to live with us.
Justin said uncomfortably.
What's wrong with it?
To my surprise, he explained that her house was getting too old and wanted to move to a better place. She didn't have a lot of money, therefore she had to be very careful with her spending. She wanted to move in with us because of her being.
Oh, I see.
I understood, but to be honest, I wasn't really keen on it. I believed that our place was a cum nest for the two of us. Betty, who I hadn't seen in a while, seemed like a stranger to me. I felt resistance to having her with us.
Please. Her house is tattered. Who knows when it will start falling apart?
He took my hands and pleaded. I assumed it was just for a short period, but reluctantly agreed. Betty moved in a month later.
Thank you so much for letting me own such a fantastic apartment.
No problem. Please make yourself at...
I welcomed her with my best faith.
Sorry to dive right in, but may I some money?
What do you mean by money?
As soon as she placed her things in, she asked me to lend her some money. I was astounded by her bluntness.
Right. I've been seeing the doctor a lot, and it costs me money. I just need a little, please.
How much are you asking?
Around 300 for now.
For medical bills, I guessed it was normal to experience health issues at her age. I could understand that the bills piling up.
Oh, right.
I found $6.50 bills in my purse and to her. And then one day, Justin asked me. I felt unrest, wondering if it was shoe to do with Betty.
You know, we should get a new car.
It was so unexpected that I almost of the chair.
What do you mean? We just bought it last year.
But it's small. I think we should bigger one.
It didn't matter if it was big or small, as long as it was a good story. It was for the two of us, or three if we Betty. Why did he care how big it was?
I mean, my mom doesn't like it.
I wondered why she complained about a car that had nothing to do with her.
She wants a more luxurious car, like a little Mercedes.
Huh?
I was totally lost.
What nonsense. We can't afford an SL car.
Who got the money to change a car for a lame reason? Did Betty even have a driver's license anyway?
I will not buy an expensive car.
I rejected his suggestion at first, but then I thought about it more. It wasn't apparent to me at that tin she cared about the car. And once again, Betty asked me for...
My medical bills got more expensive behind with payments. Could you help me again?
Should I be concerned about your health?
I asked her. She paused for a while and replied,
Not really. I just feel a bit down and having trouble falling asleep. The therapist is quite expensive. I'm sorry, but the therapist is quite expensive.
I see. How much do you need?
About 1,000 for now.
$1,000?
I shrieked. I didn't know much about therapy, but sounded too expensive.
I'm sorry. My insurance only covers a limited number of sessions per year. And then I have to take up half of charge.
I see. Hold on. I'll get it by tomorrow.
I was shocked by the amount, but I tried to understand. There must have been tests, which cost a lot. Even after that, she used likely X's medical bills and transportation fees to visit her friends to borrow more money. When I realized the amount had exceeded $5,000, even if my job was successful, I was fed up. And then I noticed something strange. I took a sneak peek at Betty's room.
What the?
There were designer bags, wallets placed neatly on the wall shelf. I was flabbergasted by the sight. I thought she didn't have money. How come she had those luxurious items? She borrowed so much money from me, yet she owned so much expensive stuff. I became suspicious about the eye medicines. I called my insurance company, who told me that they had not received any claims from the hospital. A month after that, Betty came to me money again.
Kelly, about money.
She asked, in fact, with some guilt.
Can you please wait?
I had planned to interrogate her at moment, so I called Justin, who seemed to be nothing.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Betty. What are you using the money for?
What's happening, Kelly?
Justin had no clue about what I was his mother.
You know, my therapy sessions, prescriptions, and
She mumbled.
Not only those, right? You've been buying designer clothes, other things, haven't you? Are you really seeing the therapist?
of course.
Then, please show me the receipts. You must have them, right?
Well,
When I harshly cornered her with the question, she couldn't say anything more. I realized that she wasn't spending on her well-being, but on something else.
Wait a sec. What are you guys talk about?
Justin was still confused.
Betty was squandering the money from me. It's more than 5,000, you know.
Even so, you're being too aggressive. Can't you speak to her in a nicer way?
He had a soft spot for his mom. In other words, he was a mama's boy.
I don't have receipts. I was shopping and eating out with friends.
She confessed at last.
I was thinking how relaxed you seem, even though you supposedly had no money. Besides, you don't seem so depressed. If it was all lies, please pay me back now.
Betty looked at me with pleading eyes.
Wait, I can't come up with such a good idea right away.
I've had enough already, so I pointed room and said,
You got so much designer stuff in. Resell them all. Otherwise, please move out.
to which the mama's boy replied,
Hey, you're so one-sided. She deserves a little luxury too.
He came to her rescue.
What the? 5,000 people have been scammed out of more than 1 million.
You're being disrespectful. Don't be so arrogant. Just because you're paying the rent here, if you're not happy with us, you get...
What?
Such a nonsense. I was reaching the boiling point that steam was about to come out of my ears. I glared at him furiously.
Did I say anything wrong? You created the cause by bringing B in the first place. You do nothing but be lazy at home. Thanks to whom do you think you can such a nice place?
I snapped at him.
You're so condescending that it's infuriating. Get the heck out now.
Rage had taken over him.
I see. Okay, don't regret it.
I packed up only the necessary things and left the apartment. I found a new place right away. I was a remote worker, so I could do from wherever I live. I wasn't obsessed with living in a high-rise. As long as my living space is comfortable, I'm happy. Well, what to do next? I had no intention of going back there again. The rent had been paid monthly by me. I assumed that Justin had no interest in taking over. Even if he wanted, it was impossible with his paycheck. My income was much more than his. I went to consult with a realtor who had helped me before.
It's becoming very hard to pay the rent due to personal reasons.
I could actually afford it, but I intentionally lied.
I'm sorry to hear that. What would to do?
So I asked him for a favor. One day, I received a call from Justin, who was working.
What do you mean, what? What have you? I was told to move out because the canceled.
Yes, I asked the property agent for permission to break the lease.
I don't live there anymore, so I have no reason to pay the rent. Don't you even get that?
The reason is that my mom still lives here, but I am not sure if she will be able to come with me.
Wow! What a nonsense! I was amazed and let out a sigh.
I don't live there, so why should I take care of the apartment? If you're in trouble, you should consult a professional. Can you help me find a way to make some extra cash? Maybe I could sell some of her things or something like that?
I said in a sarcastic tone.
Shut up. It was you who wanted to high-rise.
If you want to move, why don't you take over the lease yourself? Wait, I guess you can't afford it. Salary,
He must have been frustrated that he come up with his next argument.
You must be able to afford a shabby apartment. So go find it and move in with your...
Are you crazy? My mom's already spent money from the sales of her house, and I have no savings. How do you expect me to find a new place?
None of my business. He had depended on my income for the most part, and how come he still had no savings? I acknowledged the debauchery of the son.
You deserve it for being foolish for so long. Figure it out yourself from now on.
Are you telling us to be homeless? My wife is still here.
I told you. Find somewhere else to... Anyway, I'm done with you. Goodbye.
I hang up on him. My phone rang again a few minutes later. It was Betty.
Kelly, I'm really sorry. I will pay you back, so please don't out.
She pleaded in tears. I was astonished and said, "You are not a man, but an angel."
I don't want to give a lesson to anyone, but, you should live within your means. If you only have a little retirement income, you need to live accordingly. If you want a higher standard, you will work.
As a freelancer, I understood the harsh reality. If I wanted a certain level of lifestyle, I must work hard to earn a level of money instead of relying on someone.
It was all my fault. I apologize.
Please don't let us be on the street.
I'm sorry, but that apartment has been leased by someone else. You really do need to move out. This regulatory matter.
I coldly turned her down and hang call. Later on, I heard from the realtor that Justin Bieber begged him to keep it, in tears. However, he told them that a new tenant was moving in soon. They had to leave, and they needed to leave. I supposed even if they continued there, Justin's salary would have been used rent. They couldn't have afforded anything else. To begin with, it was total nonsense to kick me, who paid the rent on time. While he was relying on me, he had upset me by letting his temper get the better of him, which resulted in the point of no return. Such an idiot. I heard all the rest of their story, people who knew them, that they were unable to rent an apartment and were moving from a motel to a mobile home. That was because he had no money to broker fee deposit, and nobody wanted to be his guarantee. As for the guarantor, he could have a service, but the broker fee deposit has to be prepared by him. Betty had worked only for a short time, so that her Social Security didn't. They were even struggling to eat. They brought all this upon themselves. On my side, I managed to get another project become financially comfortable by editing the following for spelling and grammar mistakes. When I look back on our marriage, I learned that being dependent on one or the other is not sustainable in terms of both money and living. Leaving it all up to your partner will cause you tremendous pain when it comes to the point. As a side note, Justin and I were 6 for a while. After a long time, they finally divorced at the end. After all that, our feelings for cooled off, and we had no reason to stay. Well, now that we are strangers in relieved, if I am to marry again, I need to be discerning. The divorce taught me many perspectives on life.